Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Anna. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone watching around the globe. How are you
Yeah,
doing, Anna?
it's Sunday. Kind of getting cold in here. We had a great night last night. We
I
were
saw
grateful.
that you went to concert. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's always nice to you know relax, unwind, and play. I met a lot of nurses from other neighboring states like Maryland, New Jersey, Connecticut, and from Boston. So it was great. I think most concert goer was 90% nurses.
Yeah, Northeast Coast is a hub for a lot of Filipino nurses. At the same
Mhm.
time with West Side, I think this great. These are great concerts that I think that a lot of our countrymen that should always like check it out, get
Yeah.
yourself aligned. I think it helps a lot of when you feel like you're lonely in one area because you're
Mhm.
a nurse or an immigrant nurse and you didn't have your family with you. So I think having those connection again and refresh your happy moments when you were younger,
Yeah.
going to these concerts that from artists that you grew up with, it helps you kind of like remember all those happy days and kind of
Yes.
beat
I
up
felt
that
I
loneliness.
felt younger again. I felt I was in high school buying those song hits, buying the cassette tape, listening to the radio station, and hey, remember when you were younger, we don't have money. so,
Yes.
but
So this is your
now,
opportunity. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
my second childhood, and I met a lot of nurses like what I said, and they were very grateful. They said, Ma'am Anna, can you say hi to the Aura admin, DNP Unlocked, Miss A, and for all, thank you so much for all your help for helping, them. And they said, It's not for you guys, we're not gonna be here, and we're not gonna be able to afford and see and buy this wonderful tickets to see our childhood band, OPM band. And as you can see, I could have took a video of me. This is me before concert. But we have so much fun, so much fun. And like you said, if you're alone, single, check out this concert. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and it's a big stress reliever after working hard for the past few days. How about you? What happened on your weekend so far? Aside from being a great mom.
My weekend has been very productive.
Mm-hmm.
So I am dedicating more time now back to advocacy and our international nursing. I'm putting more time to it. Um, yeah, just seeing and educating and mentoring a lot of our Filipino nurses and international and new nurses coming to the United States about the ways of being here and how to go around things. So my weekend has been also for family. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my thing. I check up on my son, how's he doing in his school, and this is what American dream is for me: is to be able to
Correct.
achieve that situation where you have the ability to be able to say to yourself like it's okay to take off from work and
Yeah.
focus on my family. And this is what a lot of our middle age and younger population will need to understand, that being able to do that at the beginning and investing in your education, investing in your experiences, and investing in yourself will have like a very big impact when you get to your middle age area where your family
Oh,
we're middle age, right?
we
So
are.
yeah, without further ado, so this is a great thing that we will actually explore. What are the investments that you can do to yourself?
Yeah.
Investment is not only about money, it's not about
Yeah.
just buying
Mm-hmm.
real estate. Investment is investing in yourself. What can you do? How can you invest in your growth professionally and be able to be in a situation where there's actually better life work balance? All right.
Exactly, exactly. And
It's
like you said, investment comes in all forms, not just always all about the money and all about investment. Because, when you hear the word investment, you're focused on how can I grow my money? But like you always advocate for our nurses is to invest in your knowledge, in your literacy, in terms of finances, in terms of education, in terms of learning with top skills, right? So when I came here, it's not all about nursing that I have to learn, but navigating more of house maintaining, being a mom in a state wherein you don't know anyone, you have no support. And thank God we have DNP Unlocked, right? We have you, we have Dr. Nurse Paul, and we have Leora to share our raw experience like no sugarcoating, all about honesty. It is what it is. We want them to help and we want them to avoid the mistakes that we did when we were starting. There's no pay. There's no TravelNurseHacker.
Yes, when I started here back in 2006, I did not have a cell phone. I did not have a
Yeah.
so it was really a hard navigation. Yes, I'm part of those generation where we have to use our payphone and drop some coins just to make calls
Mm-hmm.
internationally. So it was really a difficult start, and I'm very happy that the evolution of our technology has connected us so much that it kind of like helps our
Mm-hmm.
international nurses cope up and get the resources and get information that they need the most to survive
Correct.
this journey to America because it's not
Mm-hmm.
easy, but it
Correct.
is very rewarding.
Oh
So
yeah. That's
that
what
is
I always say or reply to those who are sending us message to me. Like, Mom Anna, isn't worth it. Isn't waiting 8 to 9 years to be a progression worth it? It's very rewarding. And I always tell them, yes, it is. It is. The path is not easy. Like you said, there's a lot of heartbreak, struggles. There's a lot of noise, left, right, front, back. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of finances, time, effort, all of it. That it will come to a point that you wanna give up. You wanna surrender. Like, I have to forget my American dream. But me and Kay and Dr. Nurse all are your real thing. Proof that it is very rewarding not just for yourself, but also for your family. American dream extends, not just for you alone. You're the only one who will start it. But when you have a family, you're a mom, and when you have siblings, and when if your parents are still alive, you can envision them after 5 years. What I'm trying to say, okay, there is no limit at all, right? Opportunities are endless and limitless if you are not going to give up.
yeah. The first thing that we should always check in before coming here to the United States is what are your employer's benefits, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we always educate about that. Check your employer. Even during interview, you can always ask that already.
Yeah,
How does it look like? Because benefits don't change within a year. Benefits
correct.
doesn't change within a month. So usually the hospitals will create like contracts to change benefits that will that will be in place in the next 1, 2 years, 3 years. Majority of employers they don't change radical things with their benefits because they know that the employees will leave if there is like a big change of benefits. So just getting that information at your hand will put you in a situation ahead where you can actually prepare your life in the United States. An example of that benefit, Anna, is a nurse practitioner.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a very great topic that we discuss because I have friends in New York, New Jersey, and around the US that actually that the school I mean, not a school, sorry. The employer, the hospital where they're working, paid for their nurse practitioner
Yes.
program.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard about that, Anna? That they
Oh,
paid for that,
yeah.
right? So there are opportunities like that, especially when you're single or when you're alone
Mm-hmm.
and you have so many time in your hand.
Yeah.
Paul,
So,
good
good
morning.
Hello, good morning.
morning.
I think I'm hearing some feedback. There's a loop. Hello, how are you guys? Sorry about being late. I was having trouble connecting my camera. I'm using the iPhone 16 Pro as my
Uh-huh.
camera today. It was giving me issues this morning because it's the first time I'm using it for the show.
Uh-huh. Apple
Oh, oh, oh,
16.
show it.
It's being used as a camera right now.
You know,
Oh,
guys, when I arrived 9 years ago, it was Apple 6 that I
Oh,
started with.
it
My
was
first
Apple
ever
17.
iPhone, yeah. It was Apple 6 given by my in-law. Now we are in Apple 16.
Right, right, right.
I got Apple Zero, Motorola, BlackBerry. That's my year here.
Okay, don't really go about how long you've been here. How young
Right,
you.
right.
Good morning, good partners. All house, everything. Happy Sunday,
Mm,
everyone. Welcome,
good
welcome.
morning. Morning, Kay. Good morning, Anna. I'm excited for this show because we have plenty of stuff to cover today, and I'll be happy
Mhm.
to share um, everything about APRN and my NP journey as well. It's a hot topic. If you go
It
to
is.
my social media page, it's all about, should I stay RN? Should I be NP? Is this fit for me? We hear a lot of stories in social media,
Mhm.
but for me, it's all about finding the right career path that suits your personality and your preferences, right?
Mhm.
Not everybody is built to be bedside RN for until retirement. Not everybody is built to be nurse leaders. Not everybody is built to be
Exactly.
nurse educators. In the very same manner, APRN path is also not for everybody. So
Oh, yeah.
that's one thing that I would like to open the stage with. But today we're gonna dissect it, and we have a special guest.
Yes, I'm quite excited about it. In fact, when I was in the concert last night, I received a lot of messages about our upcoming, which is so great topic because especially nurses from the Philippines. I mean, in La Ora, as we all know, I graduated my master's, and everyone's asking, is it beneficial to take my master's while waiting for my periodic date to be current? I mean, is it not gonna be a go to waste? Mom, Anna, I want to be a CRNA. I want to be like Dr. NursePaul, be an NP. How do I start? Where will I start? How much? What are the limitations? And I said, I'm not gonna answer it. Log in tomorrow or watch tomorrow, which is today. So we are so happy. We're so excited. And FYI, guys, Faye also have a master's. So,
Mm-hmm.
right,
I didn't
Faye?
I didn't finish it, Anna, because
But you
I
put
was
it here.
I took it here. I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at of job opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on my last term. But unfortunately, when I was looking for job opportunities, I needed more financial stability, and that
Morning good
master
time.
did
Mm-hmm.
not provided that. So I said, let's just put it on the side. And I
Mm-hmm.
started, I was in a traveling nurse, and I've been hearing a lot of things about the program, and I'm like, all right, I
Maybe
want
it's
to
not for
finish it,
me.
but it's not really for me. And a lot of people have done it. They just made a big U-turn on the
Mm.
midway and found better route for them. So that's why I became a travel nurse, contract nurse for a total of 18 years of contract nursing. So
But
Correct,
um,
hey,
correct.
I
right now, do you have any plan going back? I mean, why not?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to go back, but it's not definitely the same program that I want. So this is where we
Mm-hmm.
always talk about setting your goals, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not bad to change your path along the way.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
priorities will change, your situation will change, and for me, my family's financial stability and me being there for my family before was very important, and it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
My family goes first, and at that my personal situation was I was the breadwinner back then, so it was very important to provide financial stability.
Exactly.
And then I said I can just pick it up next time if I want to, but
Mm-hmm.
like now, I can pick it up whenever I want to, and definitely it's not going to be the same.
Okay, so the earners all, are you excited because you are the living testament from RN of the Philippines and you have a master's
Masters.
and
Yeah.
a lot of people are like asking how did the earners all became an MP, Miss Anna? How did it happen if he took his master's from the Philippines? And I was
Yeah.
like, well, his journey is amazing. And guys, we're gonna hear it straight from Nan Agogan with the corners all with our questions. So please, if you're watching, share us to your friends, tag your friends, especially if you want to be a CRNA, right? A lot of people are asking about being a CRNA, and I think this will be a big help or by this information, and this is free. But if you happen to when you're not able to watch us live, we are available in Spotify and Apple, so you're not gonna really miss a thing. But if you can watch live, better, because you can ask questions, you can get answers, straight from us. Right? DNP Unlocked. Wow, we've
Immigrant
been.
Nursing Podcast.
Mhm.
Yes. We now have about almost 2,000 subscribers. Wow.
Yes,
I just
yes,
recently
yes.
found out in our DNP Unlocked Immigrant Nurse podcast. So, guys, please do us a favor, download this in Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you can listen to the past 44 episodes. Kay and Anna.
Wherein we share the real life story, no sugarcoating.
Right. We have about 80 viewers now. Anna, I would like to bring in one of our friends. She is our
Yes.
guest speaker for today. Yep.
Mhm.
And she was here last time to talk about how she opened up her clinic and how she became
Mhm.
a nurse practitioner. But today, because our episode 45, is all about APRN, Advanced Practice Registered Nurse, scope of practice, I would like to bring our friend in. Her name is Rachel Garcia Tan, and she is an immigrant nurse based in Nevada, right? In Las Vegas, actually. And she is actually, I'm family nurse practitioner. Rachel is adult gerontologic acute care nurse practitioner. All right, so we have two different backgrounds. We can compare that as well later. And the difference between my practice in Texas and Rachel is in Texas, nurse practitioners are restricted. We'll talk about that later. However, in Rachel, her practice, state of Nevada, is full practice authority, and she's now um, operating with her own clinic and a medical suite. Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
guys.
Give
Thanks
us
for
an
having
overview
me.
about you. You're welcome. Thank you, Rachel. I know it was such a short notice, less than a week notice, but thank you. I would love to have you back in the show.
I
But
know.
give us an
Welcome, Miss
overview about you.
Rachel.
Yeah,
Welcome.
so my name is Rachel. I'm back here again. Thank you, Paul. I'm a nurse practitioner. My specialization is adult gerontology acute care nurse practitioner. So basically, I can see patients from the age of 18 above. I'm mainly focusing on seeing senior patients. So currently, I'm working under a group which is Reliant Physicians. I see patients in skilled nursing facilities, so mostly long-term care and post-acute patients that I visit and go there Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on top of that, I operate also my own concierge practice, which is I do like multiple cash pay services like IV infusion, um, other weight loss, and telehealth services. So yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you're on mute.
Oh yeah.
I muted it because I was cracking my neck. I'm sorry. You might hear. No, that was fun. I love the entrepreneurial spirit in nurses, because we have this connotation that as nurses, we're going to be the only job that we have is bedside. But honestly, there's a lot of business opportunities, especially here in the United States, for nurses, just like what Rachel did. She did extra schooling so she can start up her own clinic and do
Mhm.
business, So, and we've always advocated for that. But um, anyway, for our viewers today, we would love for you guys to start putting in questions so we can
Yes.
answer your questions today because this will be a very fun topic. But let's start with um, Anna and Kay. and me and Rachel will probably just add up to it. What is APRN? We always hear this advanced practice registered nursing, but what is it? Like, what's the difference with the RN license? Okay,
Oh, me.
Kay's on a trip.
So okay, no. So yeah, I'm in a camp mode again. So um, advanced practitioner registered nurses are those nurses who went and pursued their definitely advanced degrees beyond bachelor's degree. So there's a lot of routes there. It can be an APRN, a CRNA. It can be a nurse, like again, nurse practitioners, education. Anybody who advanced their degrees is considered advanced registered nurse practitioners. But the one who actually had like you said, the ability to practice on his own is dependent again, which state you are. Not all states, especially New York, we don't have that ability to practice on their own. So there's like you said, advanced registered nurse practitioners, or we call it the practitioners in general. Again, they're the one who is able to see patients like physician assistants, your nurse practitioner, your doctors, internists in the hospital. So again, those are can be individual practitioners who will see you as a direct patient care. So advanced nursing, advancing your nursing degree does not mean that automatically you're going to be able to see these patients as a sole provider or a provider. So it's really different. So you have to know what you want to do, because it's not your bachelor degree will not be able to give you um, that potential to practice on your own or practice under a group of, like Rachel mentioned, she works with a group of practitioners.
Mhm.
So so those are the difference. Bachelor's is your 4 year degree. Your advanced nurse practitioner will need you additional 1, 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years, depending on how what your program is and what you're gonna do. CRNA is also we call it advanced nursing, also degrees, but they're usually under the scope of the anesthesiologists. But nurse practitioner is not in most of states.
Mhm. Right, Anna.
Okay, so like what you said, we heard a lot of APRN, RN, BSN, and what are those? There are differences between APRN in terms of in terms of scope of practice. Like you mentioned also,
Uh-oh.
or
Uh, is it me or is it Anna? Or we're
time
looking at Anna?
as an APRN, you have a wider scope. Can you hear me, guys?
Um,
Am I very robotic here?
yeah, I think Anna, we lost you for a minute. I thought it was me.
Wow, what was the first time it happened?
Yeah, that's the first time it happened. Huh?
So
My
like what I
my.
mentioned, in terms of APRN, and Pathway and RN there's a difference in terms of education, like I mentioned, in terms of scope of practice, RN provides a wider scope of and autonomy. There's a big difference between the autonomy. I don't know what's happening with my internet. I paid it. I paid it. Why am I losing my and autonomy salary also? There's a huge difference between RN and APRN career path. And those are the things that you have to remember differentiating APRN versus RN. So those are my points, Sir Paul. How about you, Miss Rachel or Dr. Nurse Paul? You may have two APRN and two RN. Wow, good. This is a balance
I didn't hear much. What Anna have said. Not all of them, but I picked up some of them. But I'll let Rachel talk first. Rachel.
Basically, APRN, it is an advanced postgraduate education, right? So like me, I was a nurse for a couple of years in here in the US, and then I decided I really wanted to become, to advance my degree. which is master's degree, way back in the Philippines. But when I arrived here in the US, like I said, I just want to do it here in the US because it's, it's here in the US, it's more advanced, and we, the training is different, right? So nurses practicing at this level may work, in either a specialist or general capacity. APRNs are also prepared with advanced didactic and clinical education, knowledge, skills, and other scope of practice in nursing. Um, some of the nurse practitioner programs, you have to have like specific experience. For example, I did my advanced adult gerontology acute care. They required me to have 2 years of experience in acute care setting. So different types of nurse practitioner program has different qualifications that you can that you have to have before you can enroll. Yeah, so that's basically my introduction for the APRNs.
I think we lost Kay. but but for me, Anna, so APRN, the Advanced Practice Registered Nurse, is a specific term that means a nurse has acquired an advanced degree and is eligible for an advanced license. APRN is actually a license, it's not a degree. So there are different advanced degrees for graduate education level, for example, MSN and DNP and PhD. Or nurses could also take other master's degree that are not related to nursing, like MHA, MBA, or other doctorate degrees, right? But APRN is a license. So similar to you having your RN license, APRN is also a license on top of your RN license. For you to be an APRN, you must have an RN license first,
Mhm.
completed a advanced practice registered nurse degree or graduated from it, and
Mhm.
took the board exam, right? So I'm trying to share my screen, but obviously it couldn't be shared. Uh, but there are four types of APRN. Four types, according to the consensus model of American Nurses Association. And this is very important because there is a distinction between RN and APRN. There are similarities to roles, but it will eventually start deviating to where now it's two different branches of nursing. It's still under nursing. Majority of RNs still report to the Board of Nursing for legal purposes and for regulation purposes. But to cut it short, there are four types of APRN licenses. All right. The first one is the nurse practitioner, and perhaps the most popular, right? Because we hear a lot about nurses moving up to the NP role, especially with our immigrant nurse community. A lot of us probably didn't have the opportunity to go to med school because med school is expensive in the Philippines. That's one of my motivation, but I could still, function at that level. You know what I mean? So that was one of my motivations. But so that's one, nurse practitioner. The other one is called certified nurse specialist or clinical nurse specialist, CNS. CNS is less popular. I think among all the APRN degrees, this is they have the fewest number, less than 100,000. NPs are around 350,000 now in the whole US and growing. It's probably going to be one of the fastest, by the way. NP is one of the fastest career in the next 10 years, according to labor survey, all right? Bureau of Labor Statistics. Second is CNS. CNS in some states also function very similarly to NPs, very similarly. So they can act as providers, as associates, they can put orders, diagnose, and all that. The only difference is the MPs are focused on population. For example, family medicine, community outpatient, ER urgent care. Rachel is adult gerontologic acute care, so similar to internal medicine. We have pediatric NPs, women's health NPs, we have psychiatric NPs, right? So five domains of nurse practitioner. In CNS, they are more specialist of disease or disorder. Think of medicine as subspecialty. So we have diabetics certified nurse specialists, right? We have, for example, critical care certified nurse specialists. They have their own subspecialty. That's why they're called nurse specialists. They specialize in one or two things. So a little narrow, but still performs at the level of APRN where they can put in orders. They're more autonomous. They're a little independent. They don't have to wait for orders to do something because they can put orders themselves. So that's the second type of APRN. The third type is called certified nurse midwives or CNM. Of course, obviously, CNMs work with obstetricians, all right? So they provide obstetric and gynecologic services, mainly obstetric services for pregnancy and delivery, all right? So, and the third and the fourth type is actually the highest paying type of nurse in the whole world, right? Is
Whole
CRNA,
world talaga.
in the whole world. That's the truth, though. That's certified registered nurse anesthetist. So they work inside the OR to provide anesthesia services. So if you look at it, APRNs are actually similarly mirroring the medicine practice. So if you have IM, internal medicine, um, if we have subspecialties in IMs, then we have the NPs and CNS for that. If we have obstetricians, then we have the CNMs for that. And we have if we have nurse anesthetists, then we have the I'm sorry, if we have anesthesiology in OR, then we have this CRNAs for that. So the main goal of the APRN um, as a degree as a practice is to help with the shortage because there's a lot of shortage areas. You can look it up in hrsa.gov. Even big cities would have shortage areas for providers. There is a specific ratio that Medicare wants in order to provide quality care for everybody, right? And that's how APRN comes about. So those are four types. NP is just one of those, and perhaps a little more popular because of the number. There's a lot of NPs, right? That's the four type of APRNs. You still have to go take your boards to become an APRN. Now, let's talk about education. Since we talked about master's degree, doctorate degree, or postgraduate degree, or what if I have master's degree in the Philippines? What do we do about that? Anna.
Hey, since I'm a newly graduated, I newly graduated from my master's from the Philippines. So, and as we all know, I'm here in New York for 9 years now. So a lot of people, I think I received 100 messages about it. Mom, Anna, really? You put your master's in the Philippines? Yes. Is it really worth it? How can you do it? Is it gonna be useful? Yes. But APRN, we got the nurse also a great explanation later about APRN how you can use your masters from the Philippines. Now, my end goal, that's why I took it from the Philippines, first is cheaper. I can do it online. Second is equivalent. My Master of Arts in Nursing equivalent to MSN. But you have to undergo education evaluation. And a lot of people have a misconception about if accredited school. Our school from the Philippines will not be accredited here. You have to get your master's degree be evaluated. It's either by CGFNS or by West. So yes, you can use your master's because my end goal is to be in education and not for being an NE, not for being a CRNA, which is the highest salary income like what the earners all. So if you're waiting for your priority date to be current, yes, like your master's from the Philippines. But then again, let's be reminded, it depends on your goal. If you want to be an you're an A or NE, you can still take it by taking the pathway of the corners all because I think it will be great that he explained it more. But on my end, yes, and we have no master of art in nursing here. in US, right? Dr. Nurse Paul, we only
We
have
don't.
Master of Science, MSN. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to undergo credential evaluation, like I mentioned. You have to pay for it. Okay, go for that free. They were like, oh, mama, this is free. And now I am, reaping the benefits of it. It added additional pay rate or my salary, and it opens a lot of opportunities because my goal is to be an educator. I want to teach in America, be a clinician. I used to be a pediatrician back then, and
I think we're losing Anna.
also
Anna, you might need to restart your router. Anna, we're losing you.
I did restart it. How
Oh
about
my god.
now? How about now? Oh my god.
Eh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna call my husband to pay the Wi-Fi now.
Alrighty. Well, let's move on to Kay first while Anna fixes her
Yes.
issue. We hear you now, but you know how it is. When you stop talking, it goes better. And then when you start talking again, I don't know, it cuts. But Kay,
It's like when you go to one area and there's like all the kids who doesn't um who doesn't get the social pressure, the peer pressure.
yeah, yes,
That's
yes.
one kid. Like a lot of people have been telling me, go, 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 do this, do that, do your schooling,
Mm,
do that, right? So like you said, nurse practitioner is not for everyone. When I was thinking about it, I think the best route for me as an OR nurse back then will be if I go for wound care.
yeah,
Um, we have also a lot of OR nurses who went to those work with those clinics with our surgeons. So that will be a path if you're coming from a surgical procedure and not from bedside care. But I mean, or it's bedside, but it's procedural units. No, when talking about procedural units, that will be your OR, your cath lab, your interventional radiology, your imaging. So there's a lot of procedural, like especially endoscopy. So we have a lot of OR nurses who went in this field where they can actually assist those physicians in procedural. The one thing that I've noticed, Paul, was the setback among these physicians of hiring, before we had that, we would call it first assist. Actually, we still have it. For OR, they would advance their degrees into first assist through trainings. No, well, sorry, not degree, but a certification. So they said before that the first assist will be able to help during the surgery. But the surgeons or our providers needed someone who actually who can see the patients outside OR. So then there was an evolution of having physician assistant to help them. But then also the physician assistant, I think, also has limited scope when it comes to nursing care as well, right? Giving their discharge orders on the level of the nursing scope. So there was that lacking piece of that. So I believe that's where a lot of our procedural nurses have entered that field for nurse practitioner, especially to wound care. I know a lot of our nurse practitioner who works with like chronic wound care patients with your vascular patients or cardiac patients. I'm sorry, vascular. So those are a lot of I would say I've observed that our OR procedural nurses have went to. And there's also non-procedural nurses. They work in the ER, but they're they're also focusing on that one nurse practitioner. Um, I would say specialty. So yeah, that's one me is that one kid who never got peer pressure to do the nurse practitioner. It's like someone who never watched Harry Potter, right? So that's me. So I've seen one. So but there's like somebody who's like, oh, you have to see this, you have to go that, oh, you have to advance your degree. For me, I look at myself, what will make me happy? I never get
yeah.
pressured to do. Um, for me, I was really more on mentoring, teaching. So for me, nurse practitioner wasn't for me, but I know that nurse practitioner would advance, would open up a lot of doors for me as well. But it's just not the door that was that I like to do. So,
Okay,
uh,
okay. I agree with everything you said, except that,
Harry Potter.
uh, yeah, you don't watch Harry Potter. When we meet, part of our agenda is to
Uh-oh.
watch at least one Harry Potter movie. Okay, we're gonna sit
I
down
did
and
watch
dissect the
one.
movie.
I did watch one. So I am a person who, who's really, if I do something, I get hooked onto doing it. So I was saying like, I cannot be an ICU nurse for the same reason. Like I would cry. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I do like seeing the people I mentor be, surpass what I have accomplished. And because it's very important to realize that happiness is really not achieving so many degrees, but really enjoying what you're doing. And if nurse
Mhm,
practitioner is something for you, you move forward with it. You love
mhm,
seeing
Right.
patients, you love talking patients, but for me, I'm really more on like teaching. My mom is a teacher. So, but for me, if you like clinical nursing, you go move forward with it. And people ask me, is it still worth it? Well, depends on your goals. All right. So if your goal is to be, the expert of that field, especially on a specific specialty of nurse practitioner, I would say yes, do it because you're crafting your masterpiece of caring. But if your only goal is to advance nurse practitioner to a nurse practitioner program because I want to have more money, the next question is, it will increase your salary, but at what age are you
Loan.
taking this? Right?
There's loans too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
investment comes best when you do it at early part of your life.
correct.
Right.
If you're
Right.
doing this when you're 55 years old already, and you're thinking that will do this just because of money, the rate of
Mhm,
it, your investment and rate of, the return of investment, ROI, will
mhm,
not might not be the same that you're expecting because again, you're gonna borrow loan or if you have your cash, you're gonna have to calculate what's the ROI. But I don't recommend just pursuing it for money because this is where a lot of people I have seen they thought that this is the one that's going to put them in a higher financial situation, but then in reality it did not on their end, so then they regret it. So for me is you leave you know regrets are not really supposed to be there, but it's something that you tried, and it just didn't work well. But I think for me, it's not really a regret, but it's more on you missed to calculate what was really your goal versus what your strategy is. So if your goal is to create more money, well, you have to run your numbers. You're talking about creating more money, then write your numbers, right?
More money. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
your goal is to, because this is my passion, this is what I want, and this is the you know the the life I want to live, taking care of
mhm,
my patients and crafting my arts in caring, then absolutely go for it, regardless of what your age is. And like Rachel, look at her. She didn't stay where she was. She even grew into a medical, your medical suites and being an entrepreneur because at the end of the day, it is your business that you will have to sell. And if you don't have that craft or master, you have not mastered your craft, who will buy your product? Who will buy your service?
mhm,
Right?
Right.
It's
Right.
really creating your
Uh,
brand.
I want to jump on that, Kay. It's all about planning because you can see stories and even probably where you work at nurses that there are also NPs that went back nursing, bedside nursing. So, like I said, and a nurse practitioner is an advanced license. You committed to it, got into school, did your boards, got your clinicals. You
mhm,
pay for all these stuff, including licenses that you need to maintain. Now you're maintaining two licenses, RN and APRN, right? And then end up realizing it is not for you. But now you're stuck with loans. You're stuck
Yeah.
with 3 4 years that you spent NP school that you could have done nursing and specialize in one area or add more skills to you. So it's all about planning, right? Before you do something big such as an NP school, ask yourself, is this for you? I've had friends who went to CRNA school 5 years down the line. They said, I wish I did FNP, right? I had friends that are FNP that said, I wish I did CRNA, right? Because two different goals. Probably the CRNA is done with money at that point, just want to do outpatient telemedicine, something they're not capable of because they're always in the OR only prescribing anesthesia, right? But now you're stuck in the OR for the rest of your career life because that's your specialty. Is this something that you want to do? When I started deciding for my NP is what do I want to look like when I'm 65, right? At the retirement age. Do I still want to be in the ER? Probably adding more cervical injuries because I already have C4, probably add more C3 and C2 and C1 to do more CPRs. Do I want to be in the academe teaching? Do I want to be in the business, right? Creating new stuff, innovating for nurses, or streamlining efficiencies for nurses, right? Do I want to be um, practicing as an NP, providing telemedicine services in clinic, in the community, providing medical missions, right? But I realized I cannot predict the future, but I can open up my opportunities so that when I get there, I have more options to do. Um, I know I wanted to do CRNA as well, but I have to be moving to ICU, which adds up another 2 years to me when I was already 31, 32, and I decided to do this, right? But also, I thought to myself, do I want to be providing anesthesia at 6 years old inside the OR, probably performing emergency anesthesia for an emergency surgery at 12 a.m. because I have calls? You know what I mean? Is that what I wanted to do? But something like that. All of us have different goals, right? It's not for everybody, right? So if I wasn't APRN as well, I could have done something else as well. But I definitely would find something to open up more opportunities for me. But once you commit yourself to this, you have to be fully on board to it because it's a lot of time and effort. And for me, Kay, it's not even the money. Of course, money is important, right? But also time. That time loss is also money or time with your family. Your good kids could have grown by the time you finish NP school and settled. I'm still a baby NP, right? I'm a nurse for 16 years, but as an NP, I always remind my colleagues, I'm still a baby NP. I'm still growing. I'm in my first 2 years as an NP. Remember when you were a nurse in your first 2 years? It was chaotic. You were trying to learn so much skills, short span of time, right? It was also exciting, exhilarating, but I'm 37. I don't have the energy when I was 21 learning new things. So somebody asked me, why didn't you go to medical school? For the same reason. I do not think I can commit to it for the next 5 to 10 years. I feel like I'll probably finish med school, but probably eventually regret my decision. Like, why am I stuck here now? I'm stuck here. I have to make something out of it. And by the time I get out of it and settle and pay all the loans and be a millionaire, I'll probably be 60. That's time lost for me. I would never see Europe again. I would never see South America, something like that. So it's all about personal goals. So like Kay and Anna have personal goals, and me and Rachel also have personal goals. To our listeners, followers, viewers, it's all about what you really want to do in life. Don't how do you say that? Don't keep up with the Jones, right? Not because 10 of your friends did NP, you feel like the next step for you is NP. Is it really? Because once you're in, Kay and Anna, you got to be committed, right? Did I ever at one point realize, is this the right path for me? I'm going to tell you right now, I was in DNP school for 4 years, right? 4 years, all right? I was exhausted, mentally done, right? At the time of graduation. You know how it is with DNP school. In doctorate level, they want you to be, and I was in TCU, it's a very competitive school. They always want you to be excelling, achieving something, leadership, right? Social skills, right? Something for the community nursing. At the time of graduation, all of my professors are like, because they've known me always one step, two step forward. They're like, what's next? I was like, there's nothing next. I want to go to Hawaii. The following week after my graduation, I was in Hawaii for 2 weeks. I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about anything. I was uh, very exhausted. So the point is, at one point, I also thought, is this the right path for me? And then I finished NP. I'm now an NP, and I didn't practice for 1 year. You guys know this, right? And I was like, what am I gonna do with the degree that I just got? Like there's loans attached to it, and there's so much time that I invested for it studying and polishing my craft. But what am I gonna do with it, right? But now I'm enjoying it. I realize I did the right decision for now, right? I don't know 5 years later, but you got to be committed to it because without planning, there's so many options for nursing. You can easily make a mistake and go the wrong route and realize 3 years down the road after you've invested so much, it is not for you, right? So something like that, very important to plan. But okay, you were gonna add something.
Yeah, so very interesting because you know we're comparing like the time that you spend for, and I'm really curious about Rachel. Rachel, you have
Oh,
kids,
me
right?
too.
Yeah,
I
Rachel.
love them.
Let's have Rachel share her
Rachel,
journey. Like, why did you go to school,
Yeah.
motivation, and all that.
yeah, you
Yeah,
have
so
how many kids you have, Rachel?
I have two
Two
five
Oh,
kids.
5-year-old girl and a 2-year-old boy. So
And
it's very busy.
A
yeah, so
handful.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
I
can
was
share,
single when I did it, and
Oh,
I was busy.
yeah.
I don't know how she did it, but
yeah, so
wow.
can
Superwoman.
you
Super
share us,
mom.
what actually motivated you to go for nurse practitioner, number one? Number two is, did you listen to mentors, resources? And number three is, how does it look like when you were studying a nurse practitioner and having kids? How does your schedule look like?
And
Sorry.
wait, my number five question. Do you
Number four.
regret it? Do you regret it?
Oh,
Okay.
so
You have so many
basically,
questions.
yeah. So what motivates me to become a nurse practitioner and enroll in a nurse practitioner program is because I wanted to have more time and freedom for myself in the future, like so also advance my degree, right? And as what Nurse Paul said, nurse practitioner level here in the US is similar to a doctor also, that you can prescribe, you can treat patients. So me, I was a nurse, I was an ICU nurse. I like to, see critical care stuff. And sometimes I try to, argue with the doctor. Why do you do that? So I feel like I wanna do something like different for my patient, that I can treat them and do better as a result of what I've studied. So I think that's the motivation, and also freedom, time freedom. So now, as a nurse practitioner, I was so privileged and honored because a group of doctor hired me, and there's actually a lot of old nurse practitioners there that had more experience than what I, because I'm also a baby like Nurse Paul. So but I told him, Doc, this is what I really want. I want to work in post acutes because I already experienced ICU nursing for long. um, I was even hired by a as a hospitalist in the hospital, but you know what, I didn't accept it first because um I have to be tied up in the hospital, like the hours, 7 days a week, 7 days on, 7 days off. It's not gonna work with my schedule, having two kids, sending them to school every day, Monday to Friday. So it's not gonna work. So this doctor offered this opportunity for me to practice as a acute care nurse practitioner in a long-term setting, to improve and develop my skills, and it worked for me. So as was Nurse K also mentioned, it's all about your your main goal, right? Are you happy with it? So actually I'm very happy because I have my freedom. I can do what I want, and I can go to see my patients anytime I want. I respond to the nurses. So yeah, I love it. Yes.
That's good, Rachel. But what route did you take? Did you do master's degree,
Mhm.
postgraduate degree, or DNP? Because I think there's a misconception that there's a question here,
Mhm.
Rachel. Do you need? It says, do you? Is it necessary to take MSN before you become an APRN? I want to split that again. All right, APRN is a license. All right, MSN is a degree. You need a degree before you can get a license. So yes, you need an MSN before you go to APRN, but not everybody has MSN. I have MAN in the Philippines. Tell us about your education, Rachel, and how
Mhm.
did you become about an MP?
So I studied at Northern Kentucky University. So it's MSN level. So it's Masters of Adult Gerontology Acute Care Nurse Practitioner. I mainly chose
MSN.
this,
Yep.
yeah, because I already have experience with critical care. There's a
Yes.
lot of types, right? Family nurse practitioner, adult adult gerontology primary care, and then
Yes.
adult gerontology acute care.
Acute care.
There's also psych nurse practitioner, and the midwife, and also the CRNA. But I chose acute care because that's already what I've experienced,
Mm-hmm.
and I like pretty much know more on those critical care. I didn't choose
Yes.
family first because I don't like kids. I mean, to think I'm so scared with parents.
Yes.
That's why I didn't want to do family. So 2 years of program. It's mostly online. As what I told you guys earlier, it required me to have 2 years of experience in critical care when I enrolled on this program. So 2 years of they reviewed my credentials from the Philippines and also my experience. They asked for reference, and honestly, I was on probation. You know why? Because I didn't meet the GPA standard in initially here in the US. I think they required like the above above three or something. I can't remember,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I was not really type A student back in the Philippines. So I was just like I enjoyed my college days back there. But then I proved this school that I can do it. So during the first 2 semesters, I was able to get like, mostly A's. So they're pretty happy about it, and they advanced my program. I completed it, and after, and also I think Anna asked me about how did I do it, right? um, I started it 2019 when I was still in Kentucky. Back then, I have to take loans. So I don't have the means because I'm still under agency. So when you're under agency, not a lot of agency provides you educational, um, like money for
Very mhm.
able to advance your degree. So I took student loan, like probably NursePaul also did that. And when I moved here in Nevada, I got a good, like the hospital that I work with, they offered the, uh, you know, education tuition allowance. So they provided like around 5,000 per year. So all you have to do is, apply for it, and they will grant you, they'll reimburse you that amount of money. So that helped my loan to lower down. But then I try to leverage it with, because I'm a hustler. I do so much, and I try to just time management with kids, with your family. But most importantly, you really have to have time for yourself too. So yeah, my schedule was really crazy because also during my the time that I was doing the clinicals, Paul, I got pregnant on my second boy.
Wow.
I got pregnant. I was working full time as an ICU nurse. So 3 days working in the hospital and then 3 days clinicals. So it's a 6 days, and I was pregnant during pandemic. Um, though that clinical hours as well, I had to work at night. So day and night, it was hectic, but I made it. Um, after I finished the degree, it's during pandemic, and I was pregnant, and I was able to take the board exam while I'm at home, because that time, right, Nurse Paul? I don't know if when did you take your boards, Paul?
21, 2021.
It was it during pandemic as well, right?
It was, yes, yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
So I chose to take the boards while I'm at home because it's more convenient for me.
Oh, I
And
had to go to testing center.
oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah. So
wearing a
I
mask.
I I took ANCC,
Mm-hmm.
the certification, and they allowed me to take the board exam at home, but you have to show your surroundings, make sure that it's nobody's there, right? You don't have any um, other source of information that might trigger them. So
Right,
yes,
right,
this is my experience.
right.
So, I
What?
have
Yeah.
a I have a follow-up, sorry,
Mhm.
on your I have a follow-up question for you, Rachel. During
Mm-mm.
those time, working full time, being a mom, being a wife, and I'm sure you're also a daughter, you have parents back home,
Yeah,
hustling, and in school. I mean, I only have masters online, and I have no clinicals.
yeah,
How do you manage everything emotionally, equally and financially, you're alone. If was there a point in your life that you said, I wanna quit, I wanna give up, it's okay, I'm gonna do something else. Is there a time that you experienced that, and how did you work it out? Like, no, Rachel, you can do it. I mean, a lot of people wanna hear inspiring story how you were able to, combat those struggles and sufferings and about to quit moment of your life.
right. So it didn't come to my mind to quit because once I started that program, the nurse practitioner program, because my goal is, that I really wanted to have a degree or have a like this license as a nurse practitioner. And it never came to my mind that I will quit. But friends and family members helped me really to achieve this. My husband, he was here taking care of the kids, full time daddy. So that really helped a lot in achieving all this success right now that I have. Also, my mom-in-law, she came here because she has the visa, so tourist visa, so she can stay for like more than for at least 6 months. So she was here helping us with the kids. It's, I think it's very important if you have to have a family member or friends that that you can go to and ask for support, because it is really hard in the US, especially if you have kids and you don't have any help. So sometimes I actually sometimes I cry, and because it's just very exhausting. But at the end of the day, your goal is to provide, means for your family, generational wealth in the future. So yeah, so that's the main thing. That's why I never give up.
I think that's the most important thing. Like to have a goal and also your um focus on that goal, and you will never ever think to give up. Like if as we know, like I waited 8 years, failed IELTS, and a lot of people are asking me like, "What did you ever think of quitting?" I said, "No, it never came on my mind to quit because my eyes is on the prize and my goal is like that really motivates me." And I'm so amazed by your story, Miss Rachel, because oh my God, being an NP and the clinical and being pregnant and pandemic and all of that. Like Dr. Nurse Paul said, he's single.
For me, that was the easy part because I was single. Like
I
I don't have to worry about kids, but it was also difficult. So I admire Rachel because it's really hard. Thank you for all the nurses and moms
Yeah.
and even dads that are sacrificing for their family. But guys, one thing that defines all four of us here on the screen right now, and to all our listeners, is we're all hustlers. We get
We
things done,
are.
regardless of
Mhm.
the situation, right? I didn't have the advantage to have kids, probably for personal and non-personal reasons. But I do feel like I have kids because
You're a
my
poor
kid,
man.
yeah, my brothers and sisters and my mom, so and my nephews and nieces. So breadwinner problems, kind of like that. But it's difficult. It's not easy. That's why you guys got to be 100% committed to it. Like
Mhm.
there will be times where you'll be like, am I? Because you go to school and then you do clinicals on top of you doing nursing stuff because you still need money. Am I
Mhm.
really qualified for this? Is this really what I want? Like, what am I doing? Why am I overworking so much for this? Right? There will be moments of you wanna think about, am I regretting this now? Do I want to quit? But loans already started kicking in, so you're
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Oh.
You gotta be 100% committed to it.
Paul, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Why did you because you had your did you choose DNP straight, or you did the masters first?
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready for the answer. Here it is. Okay. So before that, very quickly, less than a minute. There are three routes, particularly for immigrant nurses, to get into NP or advanced practice registered nursing license practice or scope of practice, right? Either you take a full master's degree, which is MSN, here in the US. Why here in the US? Because the master's degree for NPs, for particularly or even CRNA, we don't have master's degree for CRNA anymore, is configured to what the board requires and the state requires, right? Because, for example, the board would require you to have three major courses. We call it the three P's: pathophysiology, physical assessment, and pharmacology at advanced degree level, clinical rotation hours, and graduate degree, right? So, master's degree, get it here if you want to be an APRN. If the APRN is the goal, wait till you get here to the US, get it here, all right? Because that can wait. I would rather that you guys have education here in the US. That way, your practice and experience is actually configured to the US healthcare system. There are NPs in Canada, UK, Australia, and some other few countries, less than 20 countries around the world. That is also totally acceptable because there's one follower that I have in Dr. Nurse Paul page that said, I'm an NP in UK. Can I do this? I think you can. I said, start asking the board first because the board will license you. And then followed by asking what's this? The board first, and then the board of nursing, and then the certification board if it meets the eligibility requirement for you to sit for the boards, because you still need to sit for the boards and then apply for a license, kind of like during RN, right? So that's one. But if you can wait, do it here in the US so you're educated for the US healthcare system. Because, being NP, you are at advanced level where you're prescribing meds, performing procedures, diagnosing patients. You don't want to make mistake with that because now the stakes are higher. You are where the buck stops. When the patient comes into your office, you cannot be like, doc, can you check my patient? No, you are it. You are going to diagnose a patient. You cannot make a mistake. So that's what. The other route is, if you have master's degree outside US, can I still do APRN route? Yes. There is what we call post master's degree. It is really not needed and really not necessarily frowned upon to have two master's degree. This is at the academic level, all right? In the academic world, don't do two master's degree of the same discipline. You cannot have MAN and MSN. It is not necessary. It is a waste of time. If you want to do double masters, the second master's degree should be another discipline. For example, MSN or MAN and MPH, right? But not MAN, MSN, because it's only considered as one because it's only one discipline. An advanced degree is per discipline, not per how many schools you went into and got the diploma, right? So if you already have MAN, for example, outside US, like me, I have MAN outside US, you can do postgraduate degree, which means you don't need to do master's, or you're not going to graduate with master's degree again, but you're going to graduate with a certificate that says you completed postgraduate nurse practitioner program, which makes you eligible to sit for the boards and then get an APRN license from the state. Because again, it's two: certification and licensing. So that's two, right? That's postmaster's degree. So can I do that? Yes. Do I have to go master's degree route? No. But the acceptance or process to enroll in postmasters is similar to MSN. All right. So for many schools, and I would advise really pick good schools because it also depends on schools, right? Some of these programs are very, very competitive. They open a few spots for postmaster's degree. So, like Rachel said, GPA. I was not required in the English exam because I guess they saw my scholarly work or something like that. But I mean, I was not required for English exam, but they had to look through my BSN MAN degree, right? So no need for doing all MAN. You can do postmaster's degree or do what I did because I already had BSN MSN. If I do postmasters for me, that's another 2 years. But then my end goal when I was moving here to the States is to still get a doctorate degree because I want to be an educator, nurse leader in the future, right? So for me, the end goal, the natural progression for me, since I'm already in the academe, is to do bachelor's and then master's and then doctorate. But I also want to do NP, right? So I'm like, okay, since I'm a very strategic person and I want to hit two birds in one stone, three birds in one stone, I was like, I'm gonna enroll in DNP. That can make me an NP and a nurse educator. So I did 4 years of DNP, that my major is actually nurse practitioner and my subspecialization is nurse educator. I'm eligible to sit for certified nurse educator licensure exam too, or certification, but I haven't done that yet because I'm busy with DNP Unlocked. I'm just kidding. But the point is, that was me. I'm very strategic. If my end goal is to do doctorate anyway, but I also want to do NP, but I also want to do nurse educator, because here in the States, advanced degrees are based on specialization, like MSN for educator, MSN for nurse executives, MSN for nurse informatics, MSN for whatever specialization. So many. I want to specialize in the nurse practitioner side because I want to stay in the clinical side because I enjoyed my ER experience. I just couldn't do it because, not because I couldn't, I love it. My body would not allow me to do it. I know at one point my neck will fail, and now, 5 years from when I started nursing NP school, or 6 years forward, my neck's actually failing. So it was a good decision to veer to NP. I still want to stay in the clinical side. So that's why I did DNP, because my ultimate goal is to get a doctorate degree, but also allows me to test for nurse practitioner and become APRN NP, but also be a nurse educator and be a nurse leader or whatever. So that's my route. So you guys can have 3 routes: master's degree, postgraduate degree, everything in the US, right? Everything outside the US is irrelevant to NP because you need clinical hours and NP core courses, the 3 Ps I mentioned earlier, and doctorate degree. So any which way. If you're doing CRNA, DNP is the only route. We now call it DNPA or DNAP, right? Depends on school. But doctorate is the only route. They remove master's degree for CRNA, and NPs might follow the same track as well. But that's it. Now going back to the question, what was the question, Anna, again? We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Anna.
Okay, question. I can't remember if I have a question, but I have another question that I received last night. So you clearly SI those information, and it's always nice to listen. I feel like I'm in a review class every time the nurse call talk, So because you break it down clearly. So this resource, please rewatch this. Okay, stop asking the same question like if MSN or AM man equivalent to this and that, if the best route to DMP or BSCRMA. So my question will be the corner call. If you can start all over again, I forgot Anna's question. Sorry. Now I forgot my question too. If you can start all over again, uh, but I think you answered this. Now I'm lost. Now I'm totally lost. Hey, help me out.
What was the question, guys? I forgot the question.
I'm
I
trying to
don't
go
have.
over my notes.
I run out of coffee.
I have no coffee. I think no, I got my question. I lost my notebook for
Yeah,
nurse.
let me fill in while I'm waiting for you guys' question. But the reason why I took the DNP route is because
Mm.
that was the most natural progression for me. Because when I was coming here to the States, when I was still in the Philippines, I finished my master's degree, and the plan was if I was still retrogress, I'm gonna enter PhD school and start teaching for the graduate degree because I really wanted to teach nurses, but at the master's level or graduate level. So the plan was my school was already giving me signals they want to hire me, but I have to be in PhD class so I can start teaching master's degree because you cannot teach unless you're one degree higher, right? So master's degree to teach BSN, PhD degree to teach masters. So that was the plan. But then, Uncle Sam started knocking and said, you're now current. You're now current. It's your time to go to the US. So I was like, okay, change of plan, but still same plan. I still want to do doctorate, right? And guys, let me tell you this. I didn't know about NP before. It wasn't clear to me what NPs do. Not at all. I just know there's nurse practitioner there, but my main goal is to get my doctorate degree, find scholarships, find grants, get my doctorate degree. When I got here to the US, I work in ER. One
Mm.
doctor, four NPs or eight NPs, or 46, right? Because it's a big ER. I was so amazed with my colleagues that are NPs, majority are Filipinos. I still look up to them right now. I was so amazed with what they do. I'm like, wow, they're putting orders themselves. They have autonomy to prescribe medications, to write scripts, to perform procedures. They were rock stars for me. Like, first time in the US, and I'm already seeing them suturing lacerations. And I'm very ER. Rachel is ICU. So she said earlier, like, I want to correct the doctor because he was putting in the wrong order, but I couldn't do it because I'm a nurse. But as an NP, I could do it. That's why she went to NP school. That was her aha moment, right? Because this was asked for from us when we were NP school. What was your aha moment? Why NP school? My aha moment was I saw this nurse and I still look up to her. I call her Ate. She was draining abscesses. She was suturing lacerations, reading EKGs. Oh my God. I was like, wow, I want to be the nurse that she is, like so much knowledge, so much skills. She can, she was an ER nurse for a long time and moved up to become NP. That I looked at her and all she does was so fluid, like so efficient, so knowledgeable, very smart, very demure, very mindful. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Now I was like, oh my God, am I going to do DNP or PhD or am I going to do NP? So I started researching, right? Is there a combined degree? Because I didn't know. Remember, this was in my first 3 months in the US. I was like, is there a combined degree? I already started emailing schools about PhD actually. But if I do both, it's going to take me 5 years, 2 years in NP school and another 3 years in doctorate school. But I started looking, is there a combined degree so I can do both at the same time? Can I be an NP if I take the doctorate route instead? So that's how I found out about DNP FNP, DNP AGACNP, DNP pediatric NP. So there are actually schools that do doctorate degree, and that's how I found my school here in Texas. But that's what I did because my ultimate goal is doctorate, but I also want to be an NP so I can stay in clinical side because I was enjoying nursing. I was enjoying ER, not the physical part, but the mental part, and we call it adrenaline rush, right? So I probably got addicted to epinephrine from my own body, right? The adrenaline rush, you crave for it. Um, that's why I went to NP using the DNP route. But MSN route is also acceptable. The goal is to get the degree first so you can sit for the certification board and then get a license from the state. So that's the how we can sum it up.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that. It's very
Mm.
detailed on how what the steps are you've done. You mentioned about researching. You mentioned about strategic approach on how to do this. But the most important part here is you really started what your goal was, and
Mm.
that's what the most important part. When you are investing in a big expense and time like this, financial and time investment, you don't do it just because out of your emotions. Like, hey, I'm very hyped now. And I see Paul and Rachel did the nurse practitioner. Rachel built her nice suites, and I want to do it. Don't do it like that. Don't decide it based from your emotion on that day. I always recommend people, you see it, study it, okay? And you look at, your own personal situation, and then find similar people who has done it with your similar situation. Like for me, if I am a family a person who wants to pursue my nurse practitioner, and I have a family with me who supports with me, the first person I would approach will be Rachel, because Rachel, how did you do it, right? How did you do it with the kids, with the challenges, with the similar situation? I have a spouse at home. I'm the breadwinner. How am I gonna do it? So Rachel will give you the best. I would say that I would be the better outlook when it comes to using it in your own personal situation. Paul did a great job in really studying the goals on his pathway also, but also there's a variable that he's by himself, and he will have, he does not have a, I would say, a divided time with his kids. The only thing that he has a financial responsibility back home. Both of them got loans because both of them had financial support need because of the expensive schooling, right? But both of them does not have a personal situation because Paul doesn't have the dependents that he has to take care of, so he can put more time on it, and Rachel has more dependents that she has to put time as well to balance it. So it's different scenario. And then you listen to also to both people who went to it, and both listen to people who he didn't pursue it. So by putting all the variables there that you're listening to, like for me, I didn't do it, I knew it wasn't for me. Anna pursued her master else because that's what she wanted to do. Paul wants to do this, teach and to practice clinical, and Rachel also went into business and be expert on her own, on her own practice. So different variables of different people who went through different routes will give you a better aspect of how to approach it. But the most simple thing that we all have in common, we started with goals. All of us started what goal we want to do. Like for me and Rachel, we have similar. At one point in our life, we want to have more time with our family and be financially dependent, right? But we did different route. So for me, I love teaching, but Anna she pursued all her masters in nursing education,
Mhm.
MAN, to teach.
Yeah.
I started it and then realizing, no, I need to do more financial
Mhm.
stability than that, because my goal was really to create an orphanage back home and to create a
Mhm.
school. So I know that path was not right for me, but I can use those. And eventually now I see that I didn't realize I'm going to be landing here mentoring people on, personal, setting your personal goals in life. So thank you so much for all sharing this.
Yeah.
This is
Mhm.
very important. It's a great topic. People will learn how to advance. What's the best strategy to approach it? And always, always, always start with your goal. Always have
True.
your mindset. What do you want to be? You have to keep on asking the whys of everything. Why were you doing this? Why is Paul doing the nurse practitioner? Why is
Mhm.
Rachel building these elite medical suites? Why did Anna pursue her master's in the Philippines versus in the United States? And why did Kay pursue travel nursing? And by the way, if I did pursue my master's in education, it was also a strategic thing, like Paul said, hitting many birds at the same time. So
True.
the places that I traveled to are mostly academic hospitals, which means
Mhm.
if my goal was to teach, now I build connections to these hospitals, to these nurses in this academic hospital. I work in Yale Hospital. I work in Mass General Hospital. These are your top two hospitals, your Northeast Coast providing. I'm sorry, they're the academic teaching hospital for Harvard and as well as Yale University. So those are, what do you want to do? And then you can do a lot of things on your way, especially when you're advancing your degrees, or especially nurse practitioner. The I would say I would advise a lot of our nurses, like, build your network. Even as your bachelor's degree prepared nurse, you're not a nurse practitioner first. You invest in time, you invest in a relationship. because people will know your work ethics. The doctors probably who will be your prospective business partners or your within the group will know how you take care of your patients. You will put your name out there as a person who has very good work ethics, quality care, and very dedicated nurse. So if these doctors know you, what do you think will happen after you finish your nurse practitioner? Who do you think will call you? The same doctors or practice group whom you work with, and they will be offering you that job. So you can do so many things even you're not a nurse practitioner yet. While working on your nurse practitioner degree, start investing on in a relationship with the practitioners around you. So that's my advice. You can do something right now. Even if you don't have funds yet, even if you have not started your school, you can start investing in relationship and network. And later on, if you finish your nurse practitioner school, people know you're ready. They know who to give the job to.
Mhm. Well, very good. A lot of points taken there. Like, can you summarize all of it?
No, it's a very I'm like Paul, very strategic. I
Yeah.
like two birds, three birds at the same time. If you can do it in
All the
three,
birds.
yeah, all the birds at one time, you get a boomerang, a boomerang, you go hit, and then he comes back hitting more birds. Hey, why not? Because I'm a proponent of work smart, not work hard. So
Mhm.
that's what
Correct.
everything should
Correct.
be.
And network is your net worth,
Networking.
right? Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very
So
So
if
important.
network.
exactly. And
Let
you listening to all these people around you, keep your ears open, but do you need to follow exactly their footsteps? Absolutely not. The thing there is you listen to all, you create your own pathway that is best suitable for you. And that's making
Mhm.
informed decision, not based from emotions.
right.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Say amen.
Because it's Sunday. Anna, you want to read a question for Rachel?
Okay, Miss Rachel, we have a
Mm.
question from one of the Facebook from
Oh,
here. Miss Rachel, I just graduated ACNE last month and taking my ANCC certification soon. What
mhm.
materials or reviewers do you utilize to pass the cert? Thanks a bunch. Okay, asking for review materials.
Yeah. So as a acute care nurse practitioner, I studied Barkley, and it has like the audio that you can listen while you're driving. That's what I did. So it's per system review, and it really helped me a lot to remember, right, all this, because it's mostly remembering and memorization on what treatments you will do to your patients. Barkley, that is very important when you are going to take your ANCC, acute care nurse practitioner board licensure. And also Q&As. I did a lot of Q&As every day. I was doing it, I think I was doing like 100 to 150 questions a day. And that is a Roche. The name of the study material
Mhm.
is Roche review Q&A. So I can send the link to you guys so they can purchase it, and it really helped me a lot. So most of the questions there are very similar to the actual board licensure exam. So it really helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
how about you? Good partner full.
oh,
Review materials. I mean, you have a good rent.
yeah, we do. I did FNP route. So I did Leak's book and app. That's like 750 questions. I did Hollier. Hollier is a review program, 2 days live review program. Very, very informational. So that was my lecture, and then Leak was my Q&A. I also did Board Vitals Q&A. That's 1,500 questions. So I answered all of those in less than 30 days because I was rushing to finish the exam. Yes, 300 to 500 questions a day. I didn't do anything, but like I said, it worked to my advantage because I didn't have kids. So guys, you gotta be fully committed to it.
Even clear all answering those.
Well, what is sleep again?
Yeah.
Respect. And then Kay, I want to talk about. I think this will be where we're heading last because it's been an hour and a half, and Kay has been to three different places already. And Anna's computer has refreshed already, and we're still here. But full practice authority. So for NPs, not everybody has full practice. Full practice is where NPs, nurse practitioner, do not need collaborating physicians, which means they can practice on their own, set up their own clinics, get their own patient panel, build their own patients, treat their own patients. They don't need collaborating. And then there is what was the yellow again? It's partial or reduced practice, and then there is restricted practice. Yeah. So you see, I'm in the red state for many reasons, but we are in a restricted state, which means as an NP, I cannot solely practice on my own. I always have to have a collaborating physician under the Texas Medical Board. So there's a delegation requirement, right? So the difference with that is I can practice in clinic with a supervising physician. They do not have to be there. They do not have to see all patients that I see. I still see them by myself. I still treat patients by myself. They just have to sign 10% of my chart without seeing patients, right? That's called collaboration, not supervising. So supervising is they have to supervise everything you're doing and then finish the chart for you, send the bill for you, right? Or send the scripts for you as well with their names. With collaboration, we collaborate with providers, which means we do everything, all right? But they need to sign 10% of our chart board requirement. So we cannot practice without that. Um, Rachel is in Nevada, NV, beside California in the West Coast. Rachel do not need collaborating. Nobody needs to sign her charts because she is it. So the difference with that is I cannot set up my own clinic unless I pay a physician to collaborate with me, license, right? Um, Rachel, on the other hand, has to or can set up her own clinic. Rachel, you want to share your experience about full practice authority and the
Yeah, so
benefits?
correct. Yeah, so full practice authority, as you can see there, Nevada is one of the state that has a full practice authority. So that means you can actually um, create your own practice without having a collaborative provider, but it all depends still on what type of services you're going to provide, right? So for instance, I am hired under a group of doctors in the skilled nursing, so you cannot create your own practice and practice in the long-term care or SNF or any facilities by yourself without any provider. Ever you can start a practice like what I'm doing as a concierge. You can do that, like IV infusion, those type of services you can. So there's still a limitation on what you can do. It's This is guidelines by Medicare. So that's how I yeah, that's my explanation on the full practice. It's all still depend on the services you provide.
Quick question for you, Rachel. You've mentioned that you're working with the geriatric population with a group in long-term care and stuff, and and also you have mentioned that you're doing on the side that you can also do like your own concierge service. Is it because that you do you have non-compete clause that you that in your contract with the group of practice? That's why you cannot do your private outside. I mean, your age, other gigs regarding taking care of the older people outside. That you only can do the concierge. Is it because of that, or is it specifically because that's how the Medicare or Medicaid are doing it when it comes to reimbursement? So I'm just wondering what gave you that limitation to practice also in other places for the aged people?
Yeah. So basically if you are seeing patients in like long term, so I'm going to give you guys example on what I'm experiencing. You cannot actually bill um a patient, for example, for internal medicine, and then you're going to do another billing for another private practice or whatever, similar in similar services, because it's like double dipping, you know. So you cannot actually do that. You can do some other stuff like wound care. So I also started wound care on the side, like, you know, just to have a experience on it. But you can do that, but as provided that the services is not same with the other services that you are doing in this particular group, yes, you can do it, and also with the consent of the of the group. So I talked to the doctor, our leader, about it, so he's aware on what I'm doing, like my concierge practice, and I also do other stuff on the side. So I think it is very important to communicate to your employer about what you are wanting to do, because yeah, there is a non-compete clause and all that. So it's very important to discuss that to your employer.
Thanks for that. Yeah, because a lot of our practitioners often have those called non-compete clause, and you cannot do the same service that you're providing. And non-compete clause is not only for nurse practitioners or advanced practice nursing. This is also common to a lot of international nurses coming here to the United States when they're working, like let's say in long-term care or home care. Their employers are telling them that they cannot give the same service to that. But then I always tell them, you can do business like Rachel did, right? You did business, that is yours, which is a different specialty. So technically, you're not getting the same market and competing with your own private practice or your group of practice. So again, this is very important to highlight that non-compete clause can also can limit you on providing the similar service that you're hired for or that where you're contracted for, but not necessarily opening a business that's different from what you're actually hired for from the original contractor. So a lot
Yeah.
of people have mentioned that. So I just want to highlight that. A good thing that you mentioned that always talk with your employer or talk with your group of practice on what can you do and what you cannot do, because a lot of contracts are very legally heavy jargons and you might not understand and you might do something that will get you a lawsuit for breach of contract. So very important to understand this legalities of your contract as an advanced nurse practitioner.
And,
Thank you,
and
Rachel.
then another thing to add there is you have to remember that healthcare is a heavily regulated industry. When I say heavily, especially if you're billing Medicare patients, right? So me and Rachel have Medicare profile. Now we're part of the Medicare providers, right? There are strict guidance as far as billing and fraud. You're also limited to what you can do. So everything is about state regulations. Like Rachel said, she is full practice, but in one area, but not certain area. So she is full practice, but she cannot establish her own skilled nursing facilities because we know that these skilled nursing facilities are Medicare regulated, which means billing, we're not only talking about billing, liability, insurances, and all that thing. So very, very strict. Like with me, I also have non-compete K because I work in urgent care. I cannot work in an urgent care within the same city or same jurisdiction within 30-mile radius. But Houston is about 50-mile radius, so I can go to other places. But you cannot. So other services I probably could provide. But then again, because I'm limited with my practice, I have to have collaborating physicians with my practice. So the difference is between me and Rachel, we both could establish our own clinic. It's just gonna be more expensive to me because I have to pay my collaborating physician, and the bill is somewhere around $1,000 to $5,000 monthly for collaborating physician, right? And their only requirement for our state is they sign, not see patients, sign 10% of the chart. That was the only requirement for TMB. So that's why for me, full practice is a big thing. If I would have it my way, I would honestly advocate for full practice. But as with anything, I'm not. It's not black and white. We cannot put everything in a box. I still believe that the first 1 to 5 years of NPs are training years. You know what I mean? Just like with residents, right? Because for me, NPs are good, but there are also, why did you take NP? Something like that. You know what I mean? There are NPs that I'm like, me and Rachel, I think we're both confident with our background. I did FNP because ER is connected to FNP. I want to do ER. Rachel did AGACNP because ICU, critical care. It all makes sense. We all aligned ourselves to our specialty. So I think we're both confident with our skills. You know, like we can guarantee that our diagnosis, we will stand by it. You know what I mean? Our prescriptions, we will stand by it. But there are also nurse practitioners that have only been a nurse for 1 year or have not been a nurse, just finished NCLEX and already in NP school, right? I've encountered one NP like that. And um, unfortunately, these will be your providers, right? So for me, gain experience as a nurse first. And when you do NP, stick to the specialty. Because, for example, I have friends that have, not friends, I'm sorry, people that I know, right? I just call everybody friends, that did pediatric, PQ, pediatric floors, and then went doing FNP. With FNP, now you have to do vaginal exams or perform care to our gerontologic patients that you've never seen as a nurse, right? So the transition is difficult. And then eventually they will be diagnosed in gerontologic patients, so women's health, but their background is PICU or pediatric. I think that didn't align, right? You know, stick to the specialty so you can have better grasp with your abilities. Remember, there's more liabilities with NPs because the buck stops with you. You diagnose patient. If you miss something, the number one lawsuits for providers and NPs is misdiagnosis. For RNs, the number one lawsuit is medical errors, right? Medication errors, right? Medication errors. For NPs, misdiagnosis, right? You diagnose patient bronchitis, it's actually pulmonary embolism, right? But you didn't do your exam properly. You didn't do the risk scores. I forgot what's his name, but the Wells scoring, something like that. So if I miss a pulmonary embolism in clinic and the patient dies from pulmonary embolism, I'll be liable for that. So imagine if I'm a baby nurse that only have 30-day experience because I just graduated. You know what I mean? Or um, I'm a baby MP and a baby nurse. I'm only 24 and I already have my own full practice clinic, right? I think it will be a little dangerous. So for me, guys, as an NPs, we are held to a higher liability and responsibility. So please get enough experience and stick to your specialization before you become NPs, right? But there is an advantage with full practice states because the cost to create your own practice, because remember, you want to create your own practice, that's how you make money, is less because you don't need to have collaborating agreements. That's what we call it. Those agreements have fees. You know, here in the
Mm.
States, there's no free lunch. Every single thing has a fee.
And
So as a business owner, of course, you want to reduce operational costs so it turns into a profit. Otherwise, well, it will just go to expenses, business expenses. All right, but that's about it. That's all I could
wow.
share with
Mhm.
with NPs. But yes, there's so much business opportunity. Look at Rachel; she was already able to create her own clinic. I'm planning to do the same in the footsteps of Rachel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm still in a restricted. I'm so restricted. I can practice to my full abilities. I'm just kidding. Texas,
I'm in New York.
please. Yes. Is New York green?
I believe, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're
But
green.
yeah,
Not blue.
there are also stipulations. Like California can give you full practice, but you have to work with a physician first for 3 years. You have to prove, or 3 or 5 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. After working 3 years with a physician, collaborative agreement, you can now do full practice authority. After that, I think some states also have the same. Texas, no, it doesn't matter if you've been an NP for 30 years, for 40 years. You have to have a collaborating agreement. So that's
Wow.
the advantage with full practice authority states, especially if you're doing business. Um, like Rachel, I would go to the green states right here on the screen.
Mm.
And this is available, by the way, guys, in aanp.org, Association of American Nurse Practitioners Academy. But yeah, they advocate for stuff like this. All right. And honestly, NPs help with providing care, right, to rural communities. I work in rural health right now. There's only two doctors in the whole county with 45,000, 50,000 people and growing. You know what I mean? So there is a dire need for providers. And as an NP, I am proud to say that, with my own little way, I'm able to see patients, get them started with primary care or urgent care stuff, without having to wait for too long. If it's just basic diabetes screening and starting them with diabetes meds, that's something I could do and fairly within my scope of practice. You know what I mean? If that's something like cholesterol that I need to screen and start them on statins, that's definitely something that I could do as well as an NP. So I'm proud with what I do. I feel like I'm happy. I'm in a much happier state now compared to when I was in NP school when there were so many doubts and I was like, oh my god, am I headed the right way? I'm already stuck inside it. I cannot leave. The cost of tuition is expensive. I went through TCU. Somebody asked, where did you go school? TCU, Texas Christian University. It's hybrid. We have to go to class. I think every semester I have to drive up to Fort Worth or fly because I was from McAllen. That's 800 miles. And did they help with preceptorship? Absolutely. So choose
Mm.
schools that would look for preceptors for you. But I had to look for my own preceptors too because I'm picky. I want to learn. So I did urgent care, emergency medicine, OB. Right? Can you guys imagine? I was working with one of the top-notch OB here in Houston, very, very good doctor. And he even asked me, "Do you want to work here?" I was like, "Sure, it's not my forte, but yes. Let's see,
OB.
let's see, because it's not my forte, like pediatrics. So I want to learn as much as I can while I'm in school, because I know after school I'm on my own. Like I don't want to make a mistake. You know what I mean? So that's it.
Wow, very informative. Like I told you, whenever all talks, like you have to break it down, you're gonna understand it clearer. How about you, Miss Rachel? So any last word for our viewers? Any encouraging, words, inspiring, nerve-wracking, open-minded?
Yeah, so I encourage nurses out there, even, while you're still in the Philippines, do your research and follow your heart. Because like all of us here right now, Anna, Paul, and Kay, our goal is to have freedom and to be happy, right? To follow your dream. That's the main important thing that will drive you to where you will be at in the future and be successful. It's
Mhm.
not only about the money. Honestly, building a business is not also about money. It's about building your legacy, how you treat your people, your patients, and creating a difference in people's lives. So thank you guys for having me here.
Thank you, Miss Rachel. I think you want a mom, a nurse, a wife, and in school. Wow.
An entrepreneur now. So
Yeah.
there's lucrative business opportunities when you become an NP because you can create your own practice, open your own practice. Hi, Farah. She's watching us on LinkedIn.
Oh, hi, Miss Clara. Okay, how about you, Purple? I know you have a lot of work, but what last work for our viewers?
APRN is for me by the term itself advanced practice. It's a league of its own. Um, Make sure that you have adequate nursing experience and ensure before going to APRN school, is this the route that you want to take? There are a lot of NPs that ended up regretting going back to NPs because they
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, RNs make more money, or NPs are so stressful, too much charting, or too much liability for me. I can't do that. Or you know what? I don't want to work 8 to 5. I just want to work 3 12s, right? But a lot of, or I don't want to work 712s like hospitalists. So guys, before you go NP school or APRN route, whether it's CRNA, CNM, CNS, why don't you shadow a nurse practitioner or a CRNA first for a day or two? See what they do, see if this is really for you. And once you're in, you got to be fully committed to it. You got to have a game plan. All right. That way, when doubts and regrets, those feelings and frustration, because you're in school, schools here are very, very, like with me, the school is very competitive and, how do you say that? It was not easy. Like I have to put in the work, all right, to cut it short, to say it in a very um, was this easy manner. I have to put in the work. I have to work for it. You got to be committed to it because it will test you. It will make you feel like you're not adequate. You're not qualified for it. Is this really what I want? But guys, it's all about, again, and we keep talking about this every so often, goal setting, right? APRN is a lucrative job. It's one of the leading jobs based on BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, but it is also not for everybody, all right? If this is for you, then seek mentors, right? People who've already walked the journey similar to your background as much as possible. That way you can have guidance during the journey. And once you become an NP, then it's a lucrative job because you can open your own clinics too. But that's about it. Thank you guys for being with us. Oh, Jen has a message too. Farah said yes to nurse entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Um, Thank you, Dr. Farah. And to Jen, Dr. Jen, I've been under an NP for 5 years and cannot thank all APRs out there. The best shout out to all neonatal nurse practitioners. Oh my God, that's a very subspecialized NPs, right? I'm scared of babies. I've only attended very, very few neonatal codes, guys. And let me tell you, those neonatal NPs and even neonatologists rock because, whew, my God. But yeah, NNPs. We
Tiny human, but a lot of responsibility, right?
right. I feel like I'm
Hi,
scared with
Jen.
neonates.
Morning, Jen.
Hi, Jen. But yeah, but lucrative job. But again, check your goals. It's all about goal
Mhm.
setting.
Then I want to add there, Paul, like you said, look at for mentors.
Mhm.
Mentorship is very important.
Mhm.
It will affect how you will perceive things, and sometimes you will find also mentors or preceptors that might have different goals than you do, or
Mhm.
different strategy than you. That's totally fine. I'd rather see all the different strategies and pick one what's best for me than closing your mind into one. They're only seeing one person doing it. So I
Yeah.
recommend actually looking at LinkedIn is a very good resource for a lot of our professional nurses who wants to advance their degrees. We have a lot of nurse leaders there, a lot of experienced nurses who are very willing to share their information. You will be surprised how many people are very willing to share their thoughts and experiences
Mhm.
to you without even asking you to pay them, right? So
Yeah.
these are
Mhm.
genuine people who will give you genuine advices because they're not motivated by, they're going to make money out of you. So the best people, again, who will be giving you the best advice are those people who's not really gaining anything from you, but it's just based from the experience. And again, have an open mindset. Always
Mhm.
listen to all. Don't discourage yourself just because you heard it from me. I didn't go for my nurse practitioner. Don't dismiss those people. You have to listen. What are the reasons why I did not pursue it? Okay,
Mhm.
because if you will see similar reasons why we did not pursue it, so that may actually challenge you along the way. You don't want to be in a situation that you're there halfway or third, 2/3 of the way, and then you realize, oh, I missed to find out those negative things. So
Mhm.
informed decision, always you look at both pros and cons. You look at the positive and negative of your action. So closing your eyes to something that you don't want to hear is not going to help either, but
Yeah.
just listen to it, approach it like a mature person, that okay, this is the reason why she didn't take it, or he didn't take it. I have to look into it. Social media is out there also. There's a lot of people who are saying that it was not worth it for them, but again, listen to them and listen to those people who keep on saying that it was worth it for them. So
very important to hear both sides because social media has a lot of information that probably will
Yeah.
discourage you to same things, but it
Mhm.
shouldn't be. Use social media wisely. It's a very great resource to hear genuine from genuine unfiltered people. I would say,
Like us.
unfiltered comments, but shouldn't be used to discourage you on things, but it should be used to actually help you make informed decisions. So that's my best advice there. Listen to all and set your
Okay.
goals. Okay.
Okay, so my last word will be never ever limit yourself. Go for whatever that your heart desires and look up all these great people, especially I mean, like Rachel, the corner of I like you play, I can never be an MP because the clinical hours itself kills me. So and there are other options. If you want to be in a clinical, you can go for academy, but never ever limit yourself. And that concludes our third Sunday of September. Wow, time flies. Summer is
Yes, two
over
hours. And
and
happy
two
first year to
hours.
DN. Happy first year to DNP Unlocked too. It's our first year anniversary.
Yay! 45 episodes, right? Oh my
Yes,
god.
yes.
Thank you everyone. Thank you the corners for the play. We're so happy to be part of this and our viewers. Thank you, Miss Rachel, for sharing your wonderful journey as a mom, a wife, and an auntie and a business owner now. So thank you.
Thank
And
you.
for next week, our last Sunday, am I correct? Or episode. Wow, I know I proposed this topic also episode 46 or Sunday, September, the last Sunday. Nursing strike. It's happening. I'm in New
Ooh.
York and it's happening. It's because of nursing strike. There's a lot of things that play why it's happening. And we will talk about it. Unfiltered, unbiased, like what Kay said. Go for that next week, September 29, Sunday, 8 a.m. Central Time, episode 46, Nursing Strike from Texas, New York, and Maryland. So please don't forget. Okay, everyone, have a good, great Sunday. Thank you, Rachel, the
Bye.
cornerstone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rachel.
Kay.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you,
Bye,
Anna. Bye.
everyone.